Hey everyone, it's Nelson and I'm back with another video for our weekly volunteering videos from a volunteerabroadforfree.org. Today's topic is voluntourism. What is it? How can we avoid it? And what are the negative impacts it has on society? We have to understand there's something called intent versus impact. And it's a big thing we need to make sure we understand completely. Today's video is actually brought to you by Coins for Change. We have Crystal and Jamie, who both work for this amazing organization. I'll share some more information about the organization down below in the comments. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe so you can continue making more videos in the volunteering spectrum. As always, nothing but love and gratitude. Thank you for watching.
Hello, I'm Hồng Tăng, founder of Coins for Change Vietnam.
Hello! And we're live! Hi everybody! What is voluntourism? I think that maybe you can imagine voluntourism as, let's say, like a lot of times Western, more wealthy, affluent people wanting to go to a developing country or disadvantaged community to help, and usually it's characterized by people paying a lot of money to fly somewhere and staying only for a very short term, and sometimes doing tasks that are not necessarily
they're not skilled for it. They weren't trained in it. They didn't that's not like the thing that they're supposed to be or capable of doing.
Right. So sometimes, like, let's say cleaning somewhere or building a house or building a school or playing with kids. And not saying that these things are not helpful or not good things, but I think it's important for us to have this discussion of the potential harms that sometimes it does cause to the community.
Right. So let's give an example. I guess the quintessential example of volunteerism would be, say you have a wealthy high school student from the US who wants to add something to her resume, and so they go to a country maybe in Africa where communities are disadvantaged and they have a lot of need, and they go there to build a house for people. So the intent is very good. They want to make sure that people have a roof over their heads and somewhere to sleep at night. But this is a high school girl with no experience in building homes, no education in how to build a home, and so she goes there and she pays a lot of money up front just to volunteer. So she's paying for the flight there, and also the lump of money that the volunteer organization is asking for her to go there. And she's there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So let's pick apart all the problems with that scenario.
And before we get into this, we want to make a disclaimer saying that we're not here to judge or to put anybody down, because for me, I've personally been in these situations before. But the reason why we're bringing up this, I think, kind of touchy topic is because we have to recognize that sometimes with our intention of doing good, it's not enough. And through Coins for Change Vietnam, we want to do good. We want to make an impact and bring positive change to the community here. And so it's important to ask questions not just of why we want to do it, but how we want to do it.
The people who sometimes find themselves in these like volunteerism traps, they go in with such good intentions. And so these people, they don't know or understand that their good intentions might be leading to negative impacts. And so it's actually, we hope that they would be interested in hearing about the true impact of their intentions.
Yeah, it's difficult because I think that in our society now, social media is a big avenue for us to learn about opportunities and learn about the world, which is really good. But social media is also a large place where images of these romanticized voluntourism experiences happen. So you often see like a picture of, let's say, a very young, beautiful Western girl with a bunch of children who she doesn't know the names of, and they're usually black or brown or yellow.
Yeah.
And I think the question is, what good is she doing for that community? Not saying that she can't, or that maybe she didn't, but But I think it's important to ask what specific good she's doing there.
Yeah.
So let's
And maybe to even break that question down a little further, what good could she possibly do given her situation and her education and her skills? And what good is she actually doing in the capacity and the job that she's doing there?
Right.
And then also, potentially, what's the good that she's doing and what's the bad that she's doing?
Right. So let's say for this example of the high school student who's traveling abroad, right?
Yes.
So let's say oftentimes you buy a flight to another country, thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
right? To build a house. I think that oftentimes we forget that that money for that flight could have been used to pay local people who maybe need economic opportunities, who have the skills and experiences, who understand the culture and community better. They could have built the house maybe in half of the time that
Right.
the high school student
Yeah.
tried to build the house, right? And
So, yeah, so that's like we need to look at what need does the community have, what type of needs, and how you going there, how is that, and how is it filling the needs. So in this case, the community in Africa, they have a need for more houses, but they also have most likely a need for more job opportunities for the locals there. The locals there need to have work to do in order to support their families. And so when a foreigner goes into that situation in community to build houses, they may be fulfilling the need for more houses to be built, but they are not fulfilling the need for locals to have jobs. So they're taking that job opportunity away from the locals.
Right. And oftentimes, I think we don't recognize that sometimes it even costs more for unskilled foreign volunteers to come into a community than it's actually benefiting. So there's probably finances and resources coming to make sure that that volunteer is fed and comfortable, and oftentimes foreign volunteers need that sense of comfort. Like they can't survive in the same accommodations as I guess the way the community does, and so that's a cost. And so sometimes it's not just that the money is wasted, but that more money is even spent on the volunteer. So we talked about some characteristics. One, right? It's misallocated resources. So wasted financial or energy or time resources. I think that is a characteristic of negative volunteering, right?
Yes.
And two is if the need is not most effectively filled. So let's say, for example, we said yes, the need for houses is there, but then there was also a need for job opportunities, and the foreign volunteer is not the best person to fill that need, right?
Yeah.
So by the volunteer coming into that community and taking that spot, they're actually taking the opportunity away from somebody who could do it better.
Right. It's important to ask when you go into a volunteering opportunity abroad to ask yourself, am I the best person for this job? Am I qualified for this job? Is a local in the area who's trained to do this job, will they have a better impact in this role? Oftentimes in the cases where unskilled volunteers come to build houses, what happens is after the volunteers leave, the local workers will come tear down the house because it is not structurally sound or well made, and they will rebuild it again. And so that's actually one of the reasons why those types of volunteerism opportunities ask their volunteers to pay so much money.
So I think one important question to ask as we look back on our own experiences or look into our future experiences is who are the people that are actually being benefited by this experience? Because not saying it's not important for that high schooler to gain, open her mind, to gain a worldview, to experience cultural exchange, and I think that high school really will come back very benefited and grow. Will grow a lot from this experience.
Agreed.
But is it at the cost of the community?
Right.
Right.
Is there a better way for her to get that same growth and development out of an experience, but with a different experience?
Right. And so yes, it's very important to ask who are the actual beneficiaries of the volunteering, and I think it's especially harmful if a volunteer comes in not with the expectation that I'm coming here to learn and grow, but actually thinking that I'm coming here to help this community, when in reality they're mostly coming to help themselves.
Right. And so we think that good, effective, and responsible volunteering abroad, it's the volunteer that benefits and also the community.
Right.
So both of those benefits like have to be there in order for it to be responsible.
See you soon. Thanks for
Thank
tuning in,
you.
everyone.
Bye.